Welcome to another episode of the Sports Camp Expo. I'm your host, Ken Allen. We are teaching sports and fitness professionals how to start, run, and grow your camps, clinics, and online instruction. I got a real special guest with me today. His name is Jeff Salzenstein. He is the owner of Tennis Evolution. Jeff also played for Stanford University, and if you can see there, he's got his Stanford shirt on today. Played for Stanford. He played professionally on the Pro Tour. Back the top 100. I think he made it. He can correct me if I'm wrong in a minute, but I think he was as high as around number 70 in the world. And since then, he's gone on to create a fantastic membership site and all kinds of other exciting things he's got going on in his business. So let me bring him on here. How you doing, Jeff?
I'm doing awesome. Thanks for having me on the call today. I'm really excited to share my perspectives and to help all those that are listening out today.
Great. So let's go back in time a little. And this is a topic I'm pretty passionate about. As you know, Jeff, I'm a fellow tennis coach and been in the business for a while. And I know how draining it can be. I was just sharing you off camera, like it's 100. When people are seeing this, it's probably late October, but as we speak today, it's just about to hit September. And here in South Florida, it's still like 105 degrees on the courts. And, especially in tennis, I mean, the practitioner, anyone can get burned out in any practitioner role, I think, if you do it too much. But tennis has its own challenges because of the heat and just our bodies. Let's face it, our bodies aren't. We're not getting any younger. If we're still here, it's a good thing, but we're not getting any younger. So I'm kind of curious, when you got off the tour. Mm-hmm. What was your thought process? Because obviously you're a smart, educated guy. You graduated from Stanford. So on one hand, you've got plenty of business opportunities that if you decide to pursue in the, let's say, so-called more traditional business world, were probably open to you. Then there's probably going through your head, well, I can always own my own tennis academy or be a director at a club, or I can do something else and do my own thing completely. So what was kind of going through your head as you winded down your playing career?
Sure. Well, let's back up a second before I get into that. Just to give those that are listening a little bit of background, I grew up in Denver, Colorado, so we never have 105-degree temperatures. And if we do, it's very dry. I grew up there, had a great junior career, went on to Stanford, won 2 national titles, was an All-American 2 years there. But playing pro tennis was not a part of the dream. I just wanted to get to Stanford. That was my dream when I was 12. And so it kind of became an accident. I developed this big serve and I went out on the tour. And in fact, at the time of this recording, I played Michael Chang in 1997. He was 2 in the world at the time. It was kind of my coming out party at the US Open. And remember, I was 23 years old and I was this American upstart and I had a bunch of injuries. And after that match, lost in 4 tough sets, I had 2 surgeries within 2 years. And the reason I bring that up is that it really shaped who I am. I felt like an intense work ethic and a lot of focus and commitment behind my tennis. But the injuries really shaped my focus on performance, on mindset, on, being the best version of myself. And so I started studying all of that when I was in my mid-20s. I like to think I was a bit of a pioneer. Some of my former colleagues on the Pro Tour said, man, you were drinking green drinks when we were making fun of you 15 years ago. You were eating organic. You were doing all of these kind of funky things 15 years ago that now are mainstream. There's a juicer on every street corner now, right? Cold pressed juice everywhere. So I was doing this stuff many, many years ago, and I like to think, again, that I was a bit of a pioneer, an out-of-the-box thinker, always asking questions on the court and off the court. So just to start right there, that way of thinking has allowed me to create things out of thin air, things that didn't even know existed. So I really want to encourage everyone that's listening to really adopt that growth mindset, that mindset of asking questions, questioning the norm, thinking of different ways to develop yourself individually and develop your business, because there's a lot of different avenues you can go into. Don't just be satisfied with this notion that you will trade time for money and you'll work your hourly and you'll be in the corporate. There are different avenues. And so I come from that approach, and I think that has allowed me to create some very special things. So I come off the tour And the way I came up off the tour was very unique because I broke the top 100 for the first time at the age of 30. And thank you for that number 70 ranking. I think my ranking increases the older that I get. I think that was Paul Goldstein, who my good friend, another Steen. He got to about 68 in the world. I got to 100 in the world on the nose. Wikipedia has it wrong. It says I was 91. I think I got to 100 on the nose. So I was a career journeyman. I was between 100 and 200 in the world. So I was just good enough to play the best in the world, but I was not good enough to be in the slams, the Wimbledon, US Open, French Open, Australia, every year. I played main draw of all the slams, but mostly I was trying to qualify in, trying to make ends meet. And so it's a tough business model, even in pro tennis, to make a good, honest living. But I truly did it for the love of the game. And I'm 33 years old. And I was having a few health issues, couldn't figure out some lightheadedness, maybe some vertigo, couldn't really feel what was going on or figure out what was going on. I took a break, and I had a family member, a half brother, that was having some addiction issues with drugs. And I decided to step in and help him out. And when he had a significant event happen in his life, I just went into full CEO mode and said, okay, I'm going to help fix this thing. And I got him into rehab. And I immediately, on that day, when I saw him go down and struggling, I said, I'm done. I packed my bags in Atlanta, Georgia. I drove back to Denver, where I grew up, and lived with my parents for 3 months, started coaching. And then I bought my first home 9 years ago, and I've been here ever since. So that transition from playing to coaching was very difficult, but also very fast. It was a life decision, a life kind of a emergency decision. Otherwise, I was kind of lingering. I didn't want to give up the dream. And so when I transitioned, I immediately jumped into coaching. And I coach kids. I coach the top juniors in Colorado, which is a bit of an oxymoron because, as you know, Colorado is not a hotbed for tennis like it is in Florida. And so I started coaching, and I really cut my teeth on the court, learning the best methods to teach people, learning communication styles, how to present something so that that person could learn. And so that shift, I was already doing that as a player, like thinking about how I could coach myself. And so I felt like I was already a good coach even before I started coaching. But then having all these little guinea pigs and trying things out and working with things, it really rounded out, or at least started to develop my coaching style and my coaching methods. But about 2 years into it, I came to a crossroads. I said, you know what? Teaching 30 hours a week. I'm charging about $75 an hour. You know, I'm making $2,000 a week. I've got an assistant coach making a little money off of him and some clinics, probably making six figures. But again, I'm working 30 hours a week, not 60, but 30 hours a week. And I got this idea. I saw like an email that said, you know, how to make six figures online. And I signed up for a workshop. I flew to Orlando, Florida. It's probably 2008. And from there, 2008, 9, 10, it was kind of percolating. I created a blog, and then I launched my first info product in 2011. So we're going on 6 years now. And it really just evolved out of this idea that I didn't want to just be teaching tennis my whole life. I wanted to do something else. I had that entrepreneurial spirit. I had no skills to do it. So everyone thinks, oh, he's a Stanford guy. He's really smart. Okay, maybe I'm a little bit smart, but I'm certainly not a genius. I like to think I'm smart because I just dive in and make mistakes until I get it right. So that's kind of how that evolved. And I know that was a long-winded story, but I did want to set the stage for you and give you some insight about the background and how it got to that place of starting my online business.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And so at the time, it was your own business though. Were you renting a court or were you working for a facility?
So I was renting courts. So the interesting thing about tennis is that when I moved back to Denver, I was the best player to ever come out of Denver. Highest ranked pro. I think very well respected. You know, people would always kind of watch the newspapers and the TV and say, okay, Jeff Salzenstein, he's our chosen, he's our Colorado kid. Funny thing happened when I moved back to Colorado and I started going to tennis clubs and interviewing and saying, hey, I want to change the culture of how tennis is done in Colorado. I want to create a little Serbia here and, turn out Novak Djokovic's and Roger Federer's, this little country in Switzerland. And all the directors looked at me like I had four eyes, like I was nuts. And so I was kind of upsetting the apple cart already in my tennis space saying, I want to change how I do things because tennis isn't good around here. that threatened a lot of people. I probably came in a little strong, probably didn't have the best bedside manner. However, I think if I would have just played it, tiptoed around, probably wouldn't have gotten anything done anyway. So all these clubs were not interested in having me actually increase their membership base, do workshops, do nutrition, do fit, and they weren't interested.
Well, they saw you as a threat.
Correct. So what I did is I was able to go to a public facility in contract courts, Gates Tennis Center, and I worked there for a couple of seasons, and then we kind of grew, and we weren't really aligned with how they wanted to do things, and so I moved on to a country club for 2 seasons that only had 2 courts, and it was a golf club, and they had no tennis program, and they just let me rent the courts. Basically, I wasn't even on salary, and so I was shucking and jiving, trying to figure out how to make this thing work. And it was pretty uncomfortable at times, because it's like, hey, All-American, top 100. I think I'm pretty smart, good guy, like don't really try to ruffle too many feathers. And I saw the doors kind of closing in on me. So what I did is I started creating this website content, and I hired 2 marketing coaches, internet marketing coaches, to teach me email marketing, how to create YouTube content, how to launch a product. And I just immersed myself in the evenings with online marketing, and learned it all, and started outsourcing everything overseas. I got on Upwork and launched my first products and had success out of the gate. But it all started again from that idea, and then taking the action, and just kept taking the action and the action. And listen, I've had a lot of failures over the last 6 years, so it's not all rosy like it might be presented on Facebook and Instagram. But certainly it's been very rewarding, because as we talked about before we started getting going on this interview, it's opened up so many doors for me to have this platform where so many people around the world can see my content, instead of the 25 people I was teaching in 2008. Yeah.
And, that's an important piece to it, because and if we can in a minute, we'll do a little screen share, give some people an idea of what it's evolved into, what a tennis,
sure,
online tennis membership looks like. But I think that's a really important thing, because it's not just about, for some people it may be just about the money, but really what you've created, yes, it's nice that you have additional income coming in that you don't have to physically be on the court for. Like I said, even though it's not 100 degrees like it is in Florida, it can take its toll on you when you're working a ton of hours.
Absolutely.
I don't care what the weather, the climate is. So that's one piece of it. But it's also, by doing that, it's really opened up a lot of other doors for you as well, as far as more people knowing your name, seeing your content. So that's led to, more speaking, more consulting. Really, it's whatever you really want to do. It's just giving you different opportunities that you never would have had you not taken that leap of faith.
Absolutely. I've always known that there was something bigger for me than just, teaching tennis, even though it was wonderful and I actually still enjoy it. The irony is that when I started launching products in 2011 and 12, it just totally exploded kind of unexpectedly. And I was able to move off the court gradually. So it wasn't like I just quit teaching lessons and went all in with internet marketing. I did this phase out process where I went from 30 hours a week to 20 to 10 to basically nothing. But what I found the last couple of years is I was really missing that human interaction. I was behind the computer a lot. I was building sales funnels. I have my team overseas in the Philippines and India and Serbia and California. And I have all these contractors helping me, and it really grew nicely. But I was missing the interaction on the court. So I've always kept, I work with an ATP pro that's 200 in the world. We do mental performance coaching weekly. He sometimes flies out here for some help. I have a Division I college player that I help in the summers, and we're talking weekly. I got a 14-year-old kid that's number 1 in this section, and we go to the public park and I do my thing and I give him lessons. I'm not affiliated with a club. I just go out there, and but that kind of interaction really, really helps me to keep me in the game, instead of me just being a marketer. Yeah. So that's really important, because honestly, I'm a coach first. I'm not a marketer, not an internet marketer. I'm a coach. Yeah. And that's actually what you talk about opportunities. And we're going to show this soon, but I started with YouTube and made some mistakes with YouTube, but we're rocking again with it. because some other guys in the tennis market are just crushing it on YouTube, and I'm behind them right now. So I got some catch up to do. But when people see my videos, they realize that maybe I'm the real deal, that maybe I know what I'm talking about. So then they go to my website, and then maybe they buy a course or sign up for the membership site. And then this last year, I got creative, and people have been telling me for years to do live events. And I was like, how can I do a live event? Like, what if it rains? And, what if this and what if that? I had all this resistance around live events. And I created a live event with a partner that's not in Denver, that's somewhere else. And I saw how it could work. And I saw how deep you could go with individuals, and that people are willing to pay a high ticket for this. And so then I created my own this summer. I did one in June, one in July, and one in August. I had 4 players fly in and paid me very well for 2 full days of immersion with me on the court. Nice. Dinner with them at night. I took care of their lunches. I really tried to give them, an all-star experience. And I go all in with these people. 2 full days, only 4 people. I sent an email to my email list, basically a PS, and said, by the way, in June, I did this in April. In June, I'm going to host this live event. Respond and let me know why I had no application process other than just respond to my email. Well, because these people have been following me for years, they're like, where do I sign up? How much does it cost? I didn't even have to get on the phone with them. I'm like, it costs $3,000 for 2 days. They're like, charge my card. So, I was able to bring in an extra $30,000 doing 3 events this summer. And it wasn't that hard. I mean, it wasn't that tough. And I had all this resistance around it for a couple of years, and I went for it. And now I'm like, wow, that was really cool. And now I have lifelong friends. We spend 2 days together. Now they're like my buds. Now they believe in me even more. And we have that relationship that's been built that you can't really build with the internet. So a lot of good things. I can talk more about other good things that are happening for me because of some of these choices that I've made.
Right. That's great. And you really opened up your mind to I'm not just an info, nothing wrong. Look, there are guys that are crushing it in certain niches, and that's fine too. But you realized I didn't want to just be a product creator and tied to my computer, 15 hours a day. And you thought, what else? How can I use my reach to do additional things? And that's one great example of what came of it.
Yeah. One other thing I'll mention is in the last year, I've started doing performance coaching. So I work on the mind and the heart. And so, we have adult players that follow me that are in their 40s, 50s, 60s, and they really resonate with the type of coaching that I'm doing. And there's so many parallels between tennis and then life. Mm-hmm. And I can draw on that. And so I've created clients that I actually performance coach. It's not just about tennis. It's about how they're navigating their lives and their relationships. And so that has been created because I've created more confidence in my coaching ability over the years. And I've really want to go deeper in that type of leadership training. And so this tennis website, this tennis business is going to be the springboard for me to do more corporate training, more motivational speaking, and to work one-on-one with C-level executives. And that's where it's going. So again, never would have happened if I would have just kept teaching tennis. So it's really powerful what can happen. You don't even know what's around the corner. You just got to keep doing what you're passionate about, keep moving forward with it.
Love it. And as far as obviously you had to start somewhere, so you start doing the videos, right? Creating content. Now, every market is different, and tennis is different than basketball, than strength and conditioning, than gymnastics. So did it take a while to hone in on who you really want to serve? Because I know, and again, I can tell you stories of how I know I've brought in certain experts into my facility, and I thought, for example, my recreational woman, I thought this would be it. They'd love it. This person had a big name. They'd be into them. And the feedback I'd get after is, Ken, no, don't ever do that again. I just need a stress relief. I just want to hit and leave. Give me as much so really honing in on who your video is for. And because I would also think on the elite, as talented as you are on the elite level, a lot of these kids who are already being trained, there's a lot of egos in the tennis business. There's a lot of guys who, if they found out, no matter how good your content is, don't listen, you're under me, you work under me, that's it. I don't want you taking advice from Jeff or watching Andre Agassi's videos, I'm your coach. This is the way we'll do it. So that I see that as maybe could have been a barrier, to sift through, maybe possibly, or maybe you just realized right away, this is who I'm talking to. This is who I'm going after.
So whether this is right or wrong, for me, when I teach lessons, I have a way of teaching. I have a system, and it doesn't matter if the person is a 3.5, which is a recreational level in tennis, a junior player, or a pro. I use the same system for everyone. Now, of course, if you're a beginner, I can't teach you the same things that I can teach you if you're a top ATP or WTA pro. That's a male or woman pro. But it's all based for me on the same principles and in the same context that I'm teaching. And so when I started teaching lessons online, I was like, well, I'm just going to teach my fundamentals, like what I do. I think there's a perception that I'm a high performance coach. I mean, I say it, I'm like a USTA high performance coach. And I think some people might say, well, he's too advanced for me. And many of my lessons are advanced. But I think people might lose sight of the fact that I've actually worked with 5-year-olds. I've actually worked with beginners, and I know how to teach that. It's just because I've played at the highest level of the game and I've coached at the highest level of the game, I'm able to go to that level. I can help people. I can go deep there. So I think a certain segment of the population, an adult that's 50 years old, that's obsessed with improving, they're going to love like working with me because they know that I can just keep taking them. But someone who's more like, well, I'm just this player and maybe I can get a little bit better, they might not be as interested in me and might pick a coach that maybe is more basic, I guess, for lack of a better word. So in terms of my demographic, I didn't really specifically target anyone, but I feel like the biggest demographic is that 40 to 60-year-old male who loves tennis. And I'd say 70% of our clients are there, but I didn't specifically go after them and say, okay, are you 45 years old and losing your hair and struggling with energy? Let me help you with your forehand. Like I just started teaching, and I didn't worry as much about the demographic in tennis because I felt like my information could help a coach, a junior, or an adult. Again, that might have been a mistake. I know someone in the baseball market is targeting baseball dads. Like I could have gone after tennis parents maybe, but I just felt like, no, I'm just going to go after the masses and we'll start to figure out our message later because I knew I just had content that could help everyone.
So content-wise, you didn't. Content-wise, you felt like you didn't have in mind. It wasn't like you were making your videos trying to speak to just one specific person. It's a specific age, gender. But when you actually decided, okay, I want to market my content at a higher level now, you probably at that point had to put some thought into it because, like, let's just take Facebook, for example. You want to run some Facebook ads. You can choose your demographics, So once the content was created, at some point you had to put some thought into, who do I really want to go after to see this the most, We
found, again, that it's the 45 to 65-year-old male, and we found that by YouTube. We see it on YouTube demographics, and we see it on Facebook ads. That's what performs the best, so that's what we do. But we didn't go after it right away, but we kind of knew because these are the guys that have money. They're accountants, they're lawyers, they're doctors. They love Roger Federer. And I always tell people, my ideal client is the guy that's on YouTube at 10 o'clock at night. The kids are in bed. He's 48 years old. And he came to the game later in life, and he's obsessed with it. He loves Roger Federer. He wishes in his next life he could be a pro tennis player. And he finds my video and says, okay, he's my guy. That's my guy. But, when we did our live events, we did 3 live events. So we had 12 people come in, 4, 4, and 4. We had 10 men and 2 women. And you have certain women that want to get better too. There's other women that play more for the fun of tennis. But there are certain women that are just like, oh my gosh, I want to learn to hit a serve like the pros. And so it just speaks to, it's probably 70, 30, 80, 20 on the men's side. And then, yes, we have tennis parents, we have coaches that they find our site. But again, we target that specific demographic.
So can you share with us a little what it looks like, what your process is?
Yeah, let's do that. So I'm going to share my screen here. Okay.
There we go. Nice.
So you can see my YouTube channel, which we started in 2008. And basically we put out I put out one video every week for like 4 years. And there were like these 2-minute tips, and our channel really grew. I mean, we did a great job. I made a mistake in that I stopped creating content on YouTube. And the one reason was that I really wanted to create a scalable business that was based on paid traffic instead of organic traffic, because I didn't want to have to keep making videos for the next 20 years. So I strategically stopped making these videos, but I did see a drop in my revenue and in my business. Mm-hmm. And so in the last year, we started down to 8%. I might have to plug in. We started, and I think I have the plug somewhere, but we started creating content again, and we started creating longer videos. So before I just do the 2-minute tips, but now YouTube has changed their algorithm. They want watch time. Okay. So now we're creating 6 to 8 minute videos. And they added YouTube Live recently with Facebook Live. I started doing these 30-minute YouTube Lives, and I thought, my gosh, people aren't going to want to listen to me for 30 minutes, just with no background, just boring, not even on the court. And I did it, started, and our channel is going through the roof because of these YouTube Lives. I got people saying, you should be on BBC Sport, you should be on Tennis Channel, blah, blah, blah. But they really want to hear what I have to say in my perspective, kind of the insider tips, because I did live the pro game. And so these 30-minute YouTube Lives have been amazing to boost our channel. And then we do the instruction every week, and our channel is just accelerating right now. And so I've got guys in my market that have, almost 100,000 subscribers. I have 35,000 subscribers. So I'm like 3x behind some of these guys. But it's been really interesting to create this organic, and we are making sales. We get people that see our videos, find our website, and then start buying our front end offer. So it is happening. But it still takes time. I still have to do production and all that stuff. But this is kind of the beginning where people see me for the first time to try to decide if I'm the real deal or not.
Right. So it's a common, your front end strategy is it's YouTube and Facebook ads primarily.
YouTube and Facebook ads. Obviously, I mean, we're going to get into YouTube ads shortly here. We've dabbled in it. Personally, I haven't been able to get the paid traffic to work yet. That's been my biggest challenge in my business the last couple of years. Is I think I have this amazing business. I think I have amazing content. I think I'm a good personality. I'm good on video. So I've been told my videos are helpful to people. I've got all that. Mm-hmm. It's just trying to find the right model that creates the ROI that I need to have happen. And that's kind of probably phase 2 of the business. Is phase 1 is just getting your business started. Probably phase 2 is actually creating products and being profitable, which I did for several years. But then the biggest challenge for me has been scale. And so we're looking a lot at that. And we've been really practicing figuring out ways to do that. What we do with the YouTube channel is also we put those videos on our blog here. And so we put out the blog every week so people can come to it. And, we have this survey they take where they can opt in. It takes them to a page, again, where they can opt in and give their email address. It's kind of like a little quiz here. So, we're getting opt-ins every day, but certainly not a flood of opt-ins. This is, again, the next level. I really believe our business can go to a whole nother level when we crack the code on this. Mm-hmm. But certainly putting out great content is really helping a lot right now. And
I know you have both, but you sell individual products, but you also have a membership, a monthly membership they can join. Where are you putting most of your attention as far as those two, individual product versus membership?
Yeah, so we have our membership, and typically, so I do a lot of email marketing as well. So when we get people on our list, we're emailing them, almost every day, 5 to 7 days a week. And so we're constantly trying to build a relationship. We're probably doing promotions, twice a month, sometimes more. But we're always trying to tell stories, trying to entertain, kind of like what Ryan Lee does. And really, he's been a big mentor of mine and a good friend, and I really appreciate all his help over the years. So we do the email marketing, and we promote individual products for the most part. We also have a free trial into our membership. But typically we try to get people to buy one product first, have a positive experience. On the back end, we have an upsell into the membership site, a free trial. So a lot of times we will convert on that. Hopefully this is language people can understand a little bit as I'm talking, but they buy the product and then on the next page they land and then they can accept the free trial into the membership for 21 days. And then it's $47 a month and they get access to everything. They get a monthly call with me. So
it's not just the digital stuff. You're giving them a call.
Yeah, I do a monthly call. I did it last night actually. But yeah, that's how we do it. We have like 25 products. We probably try to sell about 10 products. I'm going to plug in real quick here when you ask the next question. So, and then here's our membership site. So I'll just give you a quick look. So they log in and I just put it on the course library area. But these are all of our products. So I've created a lot of content in the last 6 years. I mean, we are not light on content. We've got a flexibility program. We've got strength and mobility. We have all the different strokes. We've got footwork. So yeah, it's a pretty comprehensive membership site. Could possibly be too much content, maybe a little bit overwhelming. It's always trying to find that balance between what works and what doesn't work, what people can consume and not consume. But ultimately, we want people in the membership area paying $47 a month. But we certainly have a lot of people that just like to buy the standalone products. So we give them that option as well.
Awesome. Great stuff, Jeff. All right.
Yeah, thank you.
Can we go off the screen share for a minute?
Yeah, absolutely. Whoops. Pushed annotate. Let's see if we get this here.
There we go.
Got a mind of its own. Okay, great.
Nice.
So I'm going to look for a plug here. I apologize for this.
No worries.
We're down to 5%.
We're going to wrap soon anyway. So if you can't find it.
Okay, great.
Okay.
I got it.
All right, cool.
I'm still here. Okay.
So yeah, so one of the things, and this was important to me when I even started, even in my early stages of planning this whole online event, I really wanted to present a lot different options, not so much to overwhelm the viewer at home. That was not my intent at all, but I have learned through my own trials and tribulations that life is not a three-step system like a lot of marketers try to. And depending on where you're at in your life, lots of different factors, how much money you have saved, your age, your goals, it's going to, your personality, your strengths, your talents, it's going to be different for everybody. So I actually get really angry with all the marketers pushing, here's my 5-step system to $1 million, Mm-hmm. And so I really wanted to present a variety of different options, because not so much to overwhelm people, but just to get them thinking, because the reality is, while this can be overwhelming to grow your business, whether you choose to do it online or just grow your brick and mortar more with your camps and clinics, or just stay more of a private practitioner with a boutique service, but increase your prices and get more clear on your ideal client, whatever. There's not a right or wrong. It's important that you sitting at home, you do start thinking about other ways to generate revenue, because what I could guarantee you is that if nothing changes in your thinking, there is a cap to where you can go. If you're at a club now, and you're in tennis, if you're a pro making $60,000 at a club, or whatever your sport is, if you're in fitness working under someone, or even if you're out on your own, there's only so many hours. If you don't change and think about your future, you're going to wake up and feel stuck at some point. That I can guarantee you.
Yeah.
So absolutely. I don't know if you have what your thoughts are on that, if you can give any advice towards that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I feel, again, as we started this talk today, I feel very strongly about adopting the growth mindset. And as a performance coach, the biggest thing I help my clients with is asking questions. So the better the quality of your questions, the better the answers will be. And so if you start asking yourself, what am I really passionate about? What would I like to dig into right now? What makes me feel alive? What possibilities do I have to expand my business and scale? Start asking those questions, because as soon as you say, this is how things are going to be, you are now in a fixed way of thinking. There's no way to open up your mind and your heart to different possibilities. So I really encourage everyone that's listening to start asking questions. Ask yourself questions and ask mentors questions, ask other people questions. I wish someone, 6 years ago would have told me, okay, this is how it's going to unfold and this is what to look out for. Because I'll be honest with you, my first 2 years online, I did almost $500,000 gross in my second year online. Not many people do that, right? I realize that. But I'd say I had a bit of a sophomore slump because I started believing the gurus saying, you have a 7-figure business getting out of bed in the morning. And I started believing that. And I didn't look out for some of the challenges that were going to come. And I've had to recalibrate the last couple of years. And, that's one way you learn as an entrepreneur, by making mistakes and screwing up. So I get it. That's part of it. So I would encourage everyone to keep an open mind, to ask questions of themselves and find a mentor or someone. I mean, the first thing I did in 2009, 10 was get into a mastermind and pay $15,000 to learn internet marketing instead of trying to piecemeal it together. And I learned from Ryan Lee and I learned from Craig Ballantyne. And then there was another coach after that, another coach after that. I always get coaching. The irony now is I'm getting less coaching now, and I'm actually choosing to take that 15,000 and finding people that can help me scale my Facebook and do that. So I'm doing less of the masterminds and more of just finding the one person that can grow it. And I think you start and you sit down and you look at lifestyle design. Like, how do you want your life to look? And what do you want it to look like? And how can you start to create a business that supports that? Easier said than done, but I think that's a good exercise to do as well. And then finally, I'd like to say, for those that are listening, certainly the online platform is a way to go. I went that direction. I had a choice to try to build a facility for tennis players or to go the online route. Mm-hmm. For me, I like my freedom. I like to be able to work when I want, where I want. I like to go to any coffee shop that I want. I like variety. I'm left-handed. I'm creative. I have a little bit of ADD. I'm a little all over the place sometimes. So I knew that's what I wanted to do. But I've done these live events. I'm going to start doing more one-on-one with leaders and athletes. I want to do motivational speaking. I want to speak at companies and help them with communication and, help them understand how to manage team. I mean, these are all the things I'm going into that I didn't even know I was going to do 10 years ago. I had no idea, but it's all evolved from my passions and what I like to do. So if you're out there and you're a trainer or you're a tennis coach or a football coach or a physical trainer, or whatever you're doing now, if you want to get into mental performance coaching, if you want to create camps, where you get a bunch of kids together or adults, that's a way that you can scale your business. And if you can become the best you can be and look for ways to expand what you're already doing with camps or high-end consulting, start to hang out with people that do that, model them, don't reinvent the wheel. So that's what I'm trying to do, is just surround myself with mentors and coaches, and then with my online, with my team, and really, again, create that lifestyle that supports myself and my business passions.
Awesome. Great advice, Jeff.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah.
All
my
right.
pleasure.
So we're going to wrap it up. Another awesome episode. So signing off for the Sports Camp Expo, this is Ken Allen, and have a great day, and we'll see you for another episode.
See ya.
Bye for now.